Wow.
David Freese.
I was so proud of David Freese hitting that home run. He's the only Angel who
Your alumni, yeah.
hit anything that whole series. And
Were you proud of David Freese hitting the home run?
I was very proud.
Trial.
You still like him?
Love David Freese. Not Albert Pujols. Love David Freese.
What I think is...
Salas, so glad we're rid of him.
Yeah, well, Salas is the guy that came over in that trade. He lost this game.
But it's just like... That was a good game. You can't
That was a tremendous game. You can't really...
They both
blame him.
Well,
Aoki,
great. Both starting pitchers were...
Aoki made two amazing catches.
Yeah. Unlike the next Angels game where I believe Sosha messed up, and we'll get to that, this game, I don't think you can really...
Trial.
There's no...
The better team just won, and it took 11 innings to decide who the better team was.
It wasn't even the better team. It's kind of luck at that. I don't know.
Yeah, the Royals have a tremendous amount of heart.
When you're in the postseason for the first time in 25 years...
28
years.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose.
And
you're going to beat the Angels,
right.
who aren't that good.
Right.
Yeah, and haven't been in the playoffs in a few years, so they don't even have experience.
And don't have an ace. And
that's when Mike Trout can't hit.
Yeah, that's what we talked about in our postseason preview a week ago. Is just that
their pitching is lacking.
Right. You can't go anywhere without an ace and a closer. And the Angels have neither of those things.
Yeah.
You know?
The Orioles don't really have an ace, but they have a closer.
Right.
Trial.
And you can make up for it when you have good hitting. I think the Orioles do. I think the Orioles have a much better ace in a sense than the Angels do. Chris Tillman's 13-6 this year. Mm-hmm. Chris Tillman is 20. He has. I think he's something like 21-12 when the team is 21-12 when he starts. Chris Tillman, maybe he's not a household name, but he really should be. You know?
You know who was 13-6 also?
The Angels just...
Edinson Volquez.
Well, Edinson Volquez pitched one bad game in the wild card, which is why we need to get rid of the wild card system. Edinson Volquez is a good pitcher. I stand by that.
He's going to be awful next year. He's going to be awful next year.
Trial.
The Angels are just not... They weren't ready for the playoffs.
Yeah,
they have Mike Trout... They have Albert Pujols.
Need another year.
They both can hit, but they got no pitching, they got no depth in their lineup, and they won all those games in the regular season. But postseason is totally different. And playing Kansas City, who's going to go out there and scrap together a bunch of wins,
knowing that they don't have James Shields next year as motivation. That the Angels have a future in Trout, and they have a few more years of Hamilton, and they have Pujols. The Royals have. This is their only year of James Shields. They need to win this year. This is they have no money to spend on him.
So that's what I was going to ask you next. Is the Royals? They're going to lose James Shields, who's obviously their ace. He's been their rock all year, a stopper. Just a great guy to have at the top of the rotation. And they're clearly not going to be able to re-sign him. Shields is being nice. He says he won't rule it out and this and that. But ultimately, they have no chance of
They've said they have no money to spend.
They can't.
He's going to go to the Angels.
So, what can the Royals do for next year?
Nothing.
What options? Danny Duffy looks like he's a nice developing player.
And Wade...
Giordano Ventura.
Well, yeah, Giordano Ventura.
This guy they brought in relief, too.
Wade Davis?
No, not
Herrera.
Davis. This guy...
Herrera's
great.
No,
there was a...
Holland is their closer.
There was someone they brought in relief who's supposed to be a prospect, I think.
Finnegan.
This guy Finnegan.
Nice Irish guy.
Brandon Finnegan. He's supposed to be a prospect. This season he was 0-1 with a 1.29 ERA, obviously way too small of a sample size. They were using him out of the pen this year. He's supposed to be a big-time starting pitching prospect.
The Royals are having that kind of year where this is not going to happen again. If they don't win this year, they're not going to come back next year and make it to the postseason again. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think that if they have some prospects, maybe they'll come back 3 years, 4 years. But it's not like this is going to happen again. This run that they're having.
Well, what they did was
sweeping the Angels. It's just like
sweeping the best team
after beating the A's in a wild card game.
Yeah. Well, they made the trade last year. No, 2 years ago. That was to get James Shields
for Will Myers, which
for
looks like
James Shields.
Trade.
James Shields and Wade Davis came over in that trade.
It's a tremendous trade
for Will Myers, who was Rookie of the Year because he was a top prospect, probably the number 3 that year, I think, like very top prospect. had an amazing rookie year, and then really awful this year. You don't know if he's going to come back next year and do well. But that trade, you don't know if they traded away their future in that. You just don't know if Will Myers is going to be great. I mean, if they win it this year, the fact that they've gotten this far, it worked out for them. And now they can't really sign Shields, but they're sort of a destination. They're an up-and-coming team. But it is. They're not. I don't know if they can sustain it next year. This was one of those years that they just put it all together because they did not have the that trade did not seem like they were able to make it. James Shields did not seem like a difference maker to that team, and that year he was not the difference maker. This year it was different. They did better. I don't know.
This Royals-Orioles series should be so interesting because you just have both teams who are clearly red hot. Yeah. Both teams just swept another playoff team in 3 games.
Well, the Orioles swept the Tigers.
But the Tigers have Miguel Cabrera.
The Tigers, I thought, were for real.
Yeah, I picked the Tigers to win the World Series.
I didn't pick. I thought this was gonna they're gonna flake. They have the new manager. They don't have a bullpen. Jabba Chamberlain's in their bullpen. Yeah. They were not going to make it.
But they've made it to the World Series with the same
Orioles,
team.
I don't know. I think Kansas City might sweep the Orioles.
Well, we'll talk more about the Orioles in particular in our Friday recap. Thursday recap. The Orioles won a game and it wasn't very interesting.
Yeah, same as Orioles.
We'll preview these upcoming series.
All right.
They don't play till Friday.
What else happened
Thursday? I figure we can save it for Friday.
Yeah. What else happened Thursday?
Well, Thursday, if you stayed up late to watch sports, you were in for a tremendous treat. Oh, a lot of people did. A lot of people did. The number 2 team in the country at the time, the Oregon Ducks, at Autzen Stadium, their loud home field advantage. They had Arizona coming in. And
undefeated Arizona, but
undefeated
unranked.
Arizona and unranked, underrated. Last year, the 2 teams played, and Arizona beat them, but that was in Tucson. You figured this year Oregon at home would win the game. They were 23-point favorites, which I thought was ridiculous. I said that on Thursday, and I guess I was right. I mean, I didn't think that Oregon would lose the game, but I thought that a 23-point spread was nuts for a team that's unbeaten and that beat them last year. Arizona came in, showed a lot of moxie. And, I mean, wow.
Yeah.
And that was a sign of things to come.
Yeah, this crazy college football week.
And
it really was a sign of things to come.
Dissect that a lot more in our Saturday recap. But Arizona really...
Terrible state.
Cullen doesn't like the state of Arizona itself.
Terrible immigration policy.
Jane, what was her name? Jan Brewer?
Yo, she was such a nice lady. She still is.
Phoenix. Why would you?
I don't know if you're serious or not.
Governor Jan Brewer.
Why would you ever move to Phoenix? I mean, it's hotter than hell.
We can have a nice winter home there.
I really hope you're not serious about Jan Brewer.
Oh, I'm not.
Oregon.
What's the prison policy?
Oregon's a nice state. It's right on the coast. Beautiful.
Wasn't she the one who gave? She did something with Obama, like she gave him the finger, or she did something.
All I know is that she made those immigration laws.
Those immigration laws are...
people would go to the prisons, and the prisons would make more money because she had connections to all the people.
You look at states like Arizona, South Carolina, and Florida, and you go, that's what's wrong with the country. We should kick them out of the union. South Carolina should never come back after the Civil War. Florida can't count votes. They can't, properly do a murder trial. And Arizona has a terrible immigration policy.
The vibe I'm currently getting from this
I would have gone with the Oregon Ducks.
Is that not only should we get picked up by, a sports radio station, but we should also get picked up by NPR.
Absolutely. 100%.
What's your favorite NPR show, Cullen?
Wait, don't tell me.
Oh, yeah,
my mom loves it too. It's a great show.
Hilarious.
I was really sad when Carl Castle retired.
Me too. This new guy is he's trying too hard to be like Carl Castle.
I know.
And he's not Carl Castle. And, whatever. I don't know. Wait, don't tell me.
I should have been on that show. I have a story that connects to sports with that show. So I was listening to that show as I was driving to a football game in Alabama on my sports road trip. And you have to, when you call in to be on the show, you have to tell them, you have to leave a message and you have to tell them why you want to be on the show. And I gave a line from Driving Miss Daisy that Morgan Freeman said in the movie, which is, Alabama didn't do nothing for me 30 years ago, and it sure ain't doing nothing for me now. just because I said that, I should have been on, because it wasn't doing anything for me. I was just looking around and seeing cotton fields, and I wanted to go see my football game. Then I got out. I went to a football game between Tuskegee and Alabama State, or was it Alabama A&M?
Alabama's nice.
It was so hot. It was 110 degrees. I actually drank six Powerades.
I would rather go to Alabama than Arizona.
Yeah.
Alabama, at least you got that nice Southern hospitality.
City.
I have that. I have a connection to the South. I say baseball.
I like Southern hospitality.
Yeah,
I do like Southern hospitality.
Anyway, point is, NPR. I worked for NPR this summer.
You did?
I did. St. Louis Public Radio.
Wow.
I had an internship
Is
there.
that why you were there?
I go there every summer,
but this is okay.
Anyway,
so, NPR, if you're listening,
please.
David Sack Show.
You know, we got your boy Colin Riley Duffy here.
Prairie Home Companion's also good.
Prairie Home Companion?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I saw that. I went and saw that too.
That guy is so weird looking.
Yeah,
I wanted to see Wait, Don't Tell Me when it was being filmed. It was being recorded at BAM, right there.
That would have been so cool.
But it was actually around $75.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So what I didn't need to do was spend $75. That actually has the same effect on the radio.
Yeah.
Because when you see something live, it's different. When you hear it live, you're hearing. It's the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting. It would have been cool, but $75 is a lot of money.
So
anyway.
We're doing the gentleman on the football team from the University of Arizona a disservice by not giving them the credit they deserve.
The thing is, they chose to go to the University of Arizona.
Listen,
so I don't know if they deserve
First of
anything.
all, shout out to my friend Mark Berg, who was at that game.
Hey, Mark.
Why was Mark at that game?
Because he's on a road trip right now.
He's always on a road trip. Anyway.
All right. Are we still on Thursday?
No. We're still on Thursday because we have gone into a conversation about NPR. And listen, I love NPR. I support them. But the gentleman from Arizona came into Autzen Stadium, a hostile environment if I've ever seen one. They went in there and absolutely, they took Marcus Mariota, not completely out of the equation. Marcus Mariota did have 271 yards. But he didn't look like a Heisman Trophy winner. And I think this opens up a conversation for, Jameis Winston's missed a game, and he hasn't looked as great. And he's made a lot of bad decisions off the field. Marcus Mariota really hasn't looked like a Heisman contender. Who's the Heisman Trophy front runner right now? I say it's Todd Gurley, the running back out of Georgia.
Oh, yeah, he's been great.
Tom Brady.
No, you're stupid.
Todd
Gurley has been really great.
There's some major problems. I have some major problems with college football. I'm standing. A lot of issues with college football.
And I'd love to hear about them seriously when we get to our Saturday recap. Because after we talk
if we ever get to Friday,
after we talk about how tremendous of a day Saturday was in college football, I'd like to hear you tell me about how college football is bad.
Let's move.
I understand it. I understand it being fun.
I still need to. We haven't done the gentleman of Arizona.
Arizona's first place in the Pac-12, right?
Arizona's now ranked 10th in the country.
Crazy.
You better watch out for the Wildcats.
Well, because everyone else in the Pac-12 lost. UCLA, USC, obviously Oregon.
Yeah, and I mean that's just such a moxie. I was
USC
so impressed with Arizona.
Yeah. Anyway,
so what else are you going to do down there?
If you stayed up till 1:30 in the morning to watch sports on Thursday night, you got a real preview of things to come for what was a great sports weekend. Now we flip the calendar.
We got some
except
nice
we don't flip the calendar because we're moving one day. Well, some calendars.
24 hours later.
Some calendars are those daily calendars. So you know what?
In the city of Los Angeles, California.
My grandma used to have one of those, so she's flipping the calendar to Friday.
So if you're living in the 1950s and tuning in now, please flip your calendar and read the little message on the bottom, and we will move on.
So 4 baseball games Friday.
Whew. 4 of them.
Let's start with the
Well, no, we're going to start with
ones.
The Orioles.
Yeah.
That's boring. An easy one because that was the same story as Thursday's
Bullpen
game.
blew
Jobber Chamberlain comes in,
again.
blows it.
Chamberlain was awful.
Not that much to talk about.
They were winning, right? This time they were. This time Detroit was winning.
This time they really blew it.
And the Orioles, Baltimore really, came through again.
Were like, oh nah.
They sent out Jabba, and the Orioles were like, oh nah. You think you win in this game?
Yeah, you just gotta leave the starting pitchers in the whole game.
Who was pitching?
Verlander.
Oh my God.